Hello, everyone. Hey, Anne Claire.
Hello.
How are you?
Still good.
Still good. She is still good. I love it.
How
So
are you?
today I'm doing well, feeling good, feeling
Hmm.
a little overwhelmed. It's peak wedding season. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
3 back-to-back weddings happening in the next 3 weekends. So I'm
That sounds
going,
like a lot.
it's a lot. I am hemorrhaging money with all of the flights, all of the gifts, all of the bridesmaid dresses. It is insane. I bought a vacuum yesterday as a gift. I bought a ice maker as a gift. I got airplane tickets to Charlotte, North Carolina. I got hotel rooms. I was like, oh my God, I need to give myself a raise right now. This is a lot.
Oh my God, I didn't realize you were actually a bridesmaid for every single
Not
wedding.
not all of them, no.
Oh my God,
But it
thankfully,
is,
because I was like, oh,
I
that's
have
a
a
lot of work.
bridesmaid. I'm a bridesmaid in one of them, and then I need to get dresses for the others. And like, it's a lot. I can probably reuse an old dress, but to be honest, a lot of my stuff is still in storage. So
I was going to say you could reuse dresses,
I typically do,
but
but
yeah, if that's not literally not physically possible because you don't have access to them, it's kind of harder.
I'd have to fly to Denver to get a lot of my fancy dresses.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a lot cheaper than buying new ones.
What's another flight at this point?
You just like,
So yeah, so I'm prepping. Like in my brain, I am so ready to see all of my friends and family, and well, it's actually all friends essentially. And I'm going to go. One's in Connecticut, but it's closer to New York City, so that's going to be an overnight. I'm doing Newport, Rhode Island, which is a beautiful summer location for a wedding. I'm so excited. And then Charlotte. So it's a lot.
it's a lot, but it's fun. Like there's always a good, I don't know, like the mood of being at a wedding and everyone's sort of in a good, it started like Christmas, everyone by default is coming and trying to be in a good mood when they show up.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how I feel. Like, the default vibe of the crowd is a bit more positive than a random group of humans because everyone's trying to sort of come to it with a positive mindset or whatnot.
Yeah, they're great environments. It's always a good vibe. There's going to be a ton of dancing. I'm going to be seeing friends from all walks of life. So I'm just ready to go. I think I'm just
Also, you're a
overwhelmed.
sunshine person. You're an extrovert. You're going to love it. It's going to recharge your batteries to be the social butterfly. It's like, it's a you thing too.
Yes.
So,
I think it's the traveling. It's like consistent traveling on 3 weekends in a row that's intimidating me right
mm.
now. Because I'm like, when am I going to rest? Because I actually love balance. And so I do take a lot of time to myself on weekends to recharge alone as well. And so I'm just
Well,
wondering
I'm
when.
sure you can sort of weave that in, right? Like wake up and say you sort of gift yourself 30 minutes or an hour before you mingle and you mix in with the crowd or whatever, right? I'm sure there are ways that you can still curate a bit of you time even as you are present for someone's special weekend.
Yeah, yeah. I'll find a way. That's something I've always actually been, maybe as an adult. When I was a kid and through the eating disorder, it's harder, but I learned very quickly the value of self-care, taking time for myself, making sure I can separate from work and other things and just
Mm-hmm.
do me.
Yeah.
I know
But
actually
before that, oh no, tell
I
me.
need to go on this tangent real quick.
Tell me.
I am an identical twin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you this straight up. I did not have an inch of alone time from like the time I was conceived into being 21 years old. I was always sharing a room. I shared a room my entire childhood. And then I went off to college and had roommates. And I think the reason why I love alone time is because I spent decades of my life never having it. And I remember being 21, maybe I was 22, sitting in my first dorm room that was a single person room and being like, oh my gosh, this is the gift. I love alone time. And
That's cool.
yeah, there was a huge moment in my life where I was like, I cannot believe I've never had this.
It's amazing that you were able to connect to the goodness of it and all the, the positives of being on your own. Because often when we're used to something, being in something different will feel uncomfortable, even if only because it's unfamiliar. So it's amazing that, being in that room, you got to that conclusion pretty fast when you observed that to be true for you. So that's so cool.
I kind of just woke up in it. I didn't even anticipate, oh, I'm going to be so alone and I'm not going to like sleeping in a room by myself. I didn't even have those thoughts. I just kind of moved in. And then one day I was like, wow, this is nice. I like this. This is a gift that I never knew existed. And I do think it does help being a twin. Like I have my built-in BFF. So
yeah,
I think there is a part of me that is less lonely baseline than maybe the average person, because I always have the comfort of just knowing she exists, which sounds very corny as I say it, but
no, that's so cute.
yeah. So anyway, there's my tangent.
I loved it. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
What was I going to ask? Oh yeah, because before all of that, you got some shopping to do. And actually, that's a question that we received ahead of today's recording. And that was how to handle shopping when your body changes. And well, you kind of have to honor that in one way or another. So do you have any tips or anything to share?
Ooh, honestly, first of all, I would say there's so many thoughts that come to my mind when it comes to shopping. So when I was going through my eating disorder, I was obsessed with looking a certain way. Like I was in it for the body being small. I wanted to have that like model thin look. And so my experience at the mall was me trying on all these high fashion clothes. In high school, I won best dressed because I was so obsessed with clothes and fashion and all of that. And so I went from feeling like I was on top of the world at the mall to feeling like I didn't even want to look at myself in the mirror, feeling like I couldn't fit into everything. And the lighting, oh my gosh, at the mall in these dressing rooms, besides Victoria's Secret, they had like soft lighting, which I actually appreciated, though we have criticisms of the brand itself. Besides that store, all the stores have these fluorescent lights that are just making you look like so like Gollum from Lord of the Rings in these so I don't know.
I look like that every morning.
I know.
That's what I look like when I wake up. I'm just kidding.
Looking at Gollum baseline, add a fluorescent light over his head and he's gonna look worse.
But I see what you mean.
But anyway, so I think what I would recommend is first, maybe be more practical with your time at the mall. Like, know what you need, get in, get out. You don't have to go in and try all these clothes on, but even more so, recognize that this period of your life, since your body is changing, I would say the materials you're putting on your body should not be these stiff, uncomfortable, tight clothes, right? That's really the first one, because I remember being really triggered when something felt really tight or uncomfortable, or the only way it looks good is if you have to adjust it so it sits on you the right way, right? That would trigger me, because that makes me feel like, as a disordered brain, like back in the day, I would say, oh, there's something wrong with me. Whereas maybe a healthy person might think, oh, these clothes, there's something wrong with the clothes. I would say, oh, there's something wrong with my body.
Yeah, that's that totally bridges with what I would say as the number one too, like aim for comfort first. Right.
Yeah.
And so don't do the rigid thing. Don't do the thing that sits well only if you are like 10 degrees, like leaning on one side and holding the piece the other way. Like that's just not going to work. It's only going to bring more attention to what you're wearing in your body. So aim for comfort first. Like that's the number one priority. When you're in eating disorder recovery, don't make it even harder on yourself. Right. So maybe skip the jeans for now and get the leggings or the flowy dress.
All of those soft, stretchy, comfortable, cotton, snuggly clothes. And they're actually really common right now. It's like pandemic wear, essentially. It's very normal to wear these clothes out and about. Wear those clothes because then you won't have those moments where the clothes aren't feeling good that trigger you into thinking you need to change your body. Mm-hmm. So it's actually a way of minimizing triggers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Also, when you're actually trying the clothes on, because you're aiming for comfort first, try them on by not looking in the mirror. What's the point? If you don't even like how comfortable it is, right? If you don't like how it feels on your body, you're not going to buy it. Why would you? It just doesn't make sense. So if you're trying something on, don't look in the mirror. Hopefully it's not one of those weird fitting rooms where you have mirrors everywhere, but turn around, don't look at the mirror, put it on. If it's comfortable, if it's the right size, if you can move in it, if you like the touch of the fabric on your body, then check in the mirror, just, for a general check that you like the pattern, the color, the whatever. But check for what? 30 seconds, a minute tops. Like you don't need to be there and scrutinize all the details. That's not the point, right? So, because, you're probably also trying to work on not body checking all the time. So, check for the comfort. If it's the right thing, check that you kind of like the vibe of it and then move on.
Yeah, definitely taking on that practical, I need these things. I'm going to get in and out of here as fast as I can, find something that works for me. I'm not going to be posing in the mirror or body checking or even really caring, because literally the lighting in those rooms always feel horrible. I'm telling you, I tell myself, this is not an accurate look because fluorescent lighting isn't going to be shining 3 feet over my head everywhere I go. Anyway.
Okay. Also, reality check. I still don't dig going shopping because I generally am not a huge fan of going clothes shopping, but I will sometimes be in a fitting room, try something on, like it, look in the mirror and think, oh, yeah, because of whatever. And it's fine. Yeah. It's still okay. It doesn't mean that we did recovery wrong, but there's actually something wrong with our bodies. There actually is something properly wrong with many fitting rooms, and that's cool. Of course, it's easier for us because we know we have that inner knowing, right? That we're more than our body. And so it's easier to sort of put that distance and find that perspective. But I just wanted to throw that in there because it's still the case for us, right? It's not a thing that just disappears. The lighting, unfortunately, is not influenced by how good you feel about yourself before you walk into the fitting room.
Exactly. I think there are always going to be clothes that just aren't going to fit your body, and you can't get attached to an item working for you. It just might not work for you.
Also, you get to decide what that means.
Yeah.
I don't care that someone in the store thinks that I should not buy these pants because you can see my cellulite, through the pants. I don't care. If I like the pants, I like the pants. If someone thinks that it doesn't fit me or my body style or shape or whatever, I don't care. I'm not buying it for you. I'm buying it for me. For the longest time, there were certain clothes that I would not allow myself to buy because I was no, because of this part of my body and that part of my body, I'm not supposed to wear this shape of clothes. And I was well, hold on a second. Who decided that? If I want that because I feel comfortable in it and I like it because I like the pattern, because I like the flowiness of it, I'm thinking about a specific piece of item in my wardrobe right now. It's a full on, how do you call that? When the top and the bottom are attached.
Jumper?
No, when the pants and the top is one piece of clothing.
A romper.
Is it? But it's like a nice top. Anyways, a romper style
I think
thing.
it's a romper.
And it has like wide-legged, flowy legs and
Cute.
whatever. And I always thought like, I'm not supposed to wear that because I have short legs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what? Like, no, I like it. I wear it. I feel cute in it. It's flowy and it's silky. And so it just makes me feel really gorgeous and fancy in it. And so whatever, I bought it last year because I was like, I'm like, these things don't apply to me anymore. So, please review the guidelines that you're using to define what you are quote unquote supposed to wear or whatever. You do you, boo. Like, whatever you like, whatever feels comfortable, that's fine. And same goes for like textures, materials, colors, all of these things. You get to do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Those things about like the lines going in this direction, that makes you look blee or blonde, wearing black because it's slimming or whatever. I don't care. I don't value that more than another thing. So because I don't value it, I can just throw that rule out the window. So yeah, anyways, that was a bit of a tangent, but
I think shopping for yourself and how you feel and your own personal style is way more important than shopping to look a certain way for other people. You should not be shopping for clothes that make you look slimming to the people around you because you think they're going to like you better or whatever. You should really be thinking, what is my personal style? How do I get to express that? And it doesn't necessarily matter if this magazine or this influencer tells me that it's not good for my shape or whatever. It's more, use it as an opportunity to embrace your authentic self, right? Maybe you do like bold colors and bold patterns, or maybe there is a certain style that you really gravitate to. Practice embracing that, but
it's just like, you're not an ornament. The goal of you is not to look pleasing to other people's gaze. That's not your job in life.
Yeah, that's basically it. Like if you are stuck in that pattern of only wearing black because you were told that it's slimming or it's the cooler thing or it's less controversial or less attention, maybe there's a part of you that's afraid of being seen. Maybe there's a part of you that is afraid of expressing their authentic self or their creativity.
Being seen. If you've been told you're too much or you're going to like stick out like a sore thumb or whatever the saying is, that's BS. Like, who decided that? Now, I do want to add, we're not saying it's not okay to like when people say you look cute, right?
Yeah.
Of course, when I go out on a date with my partner, of course, I know the outfits that he likes more. So of course I'll be like, making myself look cute, right? And I'm taking into consideration something that I know about him. That doesn't mean that suddenly I'm doing it wrong or that I'm considering myself as an object, right? We are living in this version of a body. It's fine to enjoy it and to like seek pleasure. And some of that sometimes is going to come from someone saying, wow, looks cute. That doesn't mean that suddenly everyone's objectifying you. What we're saying is that's way down the line of priorities.
Yeah.
Number one priority is your comfort, your authentic self, your preferences, and the rest, that's for later. That's the bonus.
Mm-hmm. And if someone does compliment you, don't be afraid to say thank you. I think that's something that can be challenging for many, is like feeling like they don't deserve a compliment or don't deserve the positive affirmations, or maybe they sound vain or something if they do agree to a compliment, something like that. So that's really important.
It is hard. I used to have such a hard time with taking compliments and being like, thank you. I'd always be like, say something, sort of like minimize it. It's like a reflex. It's like
self-deprecating joke just to like even things out.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, why do you do that? It's just not necessary.
Yeah. And also you don't have to return the compliment to people. Like if they're saying, you look really cute, I love your outfit. You don't
Thank
have
you,
to
Meg.
say,
You look like shit.
you don't have to say thanks. I love your outfit too. If you don't really, you know what I mean? Like, I think there are so many parts of that whole interaction where, you can just graciously accept
Hmm.
a compliment. And thank you is a very easy thing to say.
Oh, and you can actually finish the sentence after thank you. If you find it weird to add anything, like if you feel it's weird to replace the self-deprecating thing with something else, don't replace it with anything. Just put a dot after the thank you. And that's it. Move on with the conversation or your life.
Yeah,
That simple.
exactly. But anyway,
I
I
love
think
it.
I have more tips for shopping.
Please share them with us.
So, first of all, don't put a lot of weight on the numbers. Like, don't put a lot of value on the numbers. So, if you're looking for certain sizes, first of all, if you're really triggered by size, maybe go with the shopping buddy and let them pick out the pants for you that fit or the size ranges that might work for you. But just remember that, first of all, every single store sizes clothes a little differently. Like, you can walk into a store that has flattery sizing. Have you heard of flattery sizing, Anne Claire? I don't know if they have this,
No, what is that?
but they will make clothes like sized. I don't know what I guess they're sized larger, but they make the number smaller. So
Oh,
maybe
I thought I thought you were going to say it says cute, sexy, attractive as the
oh,
size instead of
no, they make the number.
instead
So
of
you
the letters.
walk in and say on the average store, you're a certain size, like say you're like an 8 in a certain size in one store. A store with flattery sizing might say you're like a 4 or 6. So, like, just remember that stores have their full ability to size clothes however they want. And I think that's really messed up because we aren't really taught that. And also, there is nothing wrong with just being able to pick something based on how it feels on your body versus the number you feel like you should be wearing.
Mm.
So that's a really important one. And then, like I said, bringing a buddy with you when you're shopping is important if you need it, because you can have a hype person who just who says, like, you're beautiful, you're an amazing person. If you're having a breakdown, they can be the person who gives you a hug. They can remind you that, your size isn't your worth. They can help you. Like, if you need to switch sizes, they can be the person who does that. Maybe they can even hide the sizes from you. They can remind you to have snacks while you're shopping, like whatever it is. I think having a buddy who is on the same page with you, especially someone who is aware that you're in recovery, could be really helpful as well.
Mm. Yeah, I like those. Also, the same things that your body can tell you, you get to tell them to yourself too. So whenever you plan that shopping trip, right, other than sort of preparing and challenging certain beliefs, kind of like around numbers, for example, please do plan, mantras, affirmations, or healthy self-reminders, as you and I would call them, to re-anchor into, the rest that you're working on. For example, I am worth, my worth is measured in my values, not in, close numbers and whatnot, or whatever it is that you like. But figure out what those are, because you get to be your own buddy in those moments. I also wanted to say, don't hesitate to shop online and to sort of like order a range of sizes, or even do it with a friend, right? Order from a store a bunch of clothes that both of you want to try, order a bunch of sizes, and do it from those stores, where it's like free to return anything that you don't want to keep. Make it a fun thing at home, because maybe being at home will make the environment easier on you. Say you have social anxiety, or just being in the store is not possible outside of like really busy hours, and you might not like the feeling of being pressured to like sort of go in and out really fast and whatever. So maybe use that if you can. That could also be one way to sort of navigate that moment that may be a bit tricky.
Yes, I think that's really helpful too, because like we were saying, the environment at these stores, they're very overwhelming at times. So if
It can get quite overwhelming. Yeah.
so if you're shopping and you're already overwhelmed about maybe trying on clothes to begin with, and then adding that in a chaotic environment or a messy environment, yeah, maybe at home would be a good choice. I personally never got in the habit of online shopping. Do you do a lot of online shopping?
No, but you and I are lucky. Like you and I have body privilege, right? Where you and I can go into stores and find our sizes in the stores. And I do know that that's not actually true for everyone. And that's extremely unfortunate. And you and I try to be advocates as much as we can to change that behind the scenes. But it is true that for some people, that's not even possible. They can't even go into a store and find options for their size. Like, sizing up isn't maybe an option for them. And that's really annoying. And so sometimes that's the only option that they have. But yeah, indeed, I'm not a big shopper, but absolutely not an online shopper, because it's just, as I've told you already, I don't like adulting. So having to go through the hassle of returning something,
That's what I was. That's why I avoid it too. It's like the most difficult thing. I've tried shopping for dresses, I think, online, and then they don't fit, and then I will just give them away because I forget to send them back.
Yeah.
Or I don't really want to do the adulting required to send them back. So that's my biggest struggle. But
yeah,
I will say,
tell us.
I'm really all about sharing my own personal journey today. Guess what my trouble is? Shoe size. I have huge feet.
Do you? I did not notice that.
That's because they're proportional. I'm just a very tall person, so I'm going to have big feet. And so I feel like I actually get sized out for the shoe department a lot. So
how do you find that, like, as an experience? Do you find that frustrating?
Well, I avoid shoe shopping like the plague. I hate going. I hate shoe shopping. I maybe do it once or twice a year. I never take risks with shoes. I never buy anything. I just buy practical, basic shoes that like whatever I can find, I will take. So I can see how it would be like that could translate to someone who gets sized out of pants or sized out of a shirt. It's like you take on a different mindset in a way where it's less fun. It's less.
Yeah. And I mean, literally the store is telling you don't fit. Like, you're too much. Like, there's something wrong with you because we don't have what you need. And that's just awful to receive that messaging when realistically you already have that messaging internalized from many other experiences and other people that have made clear that that's what they believe about you.
Yeah. So for shoes, for me, I interpret it, my little critical self interprets it as you don't matter, which is like really sad. Because I guess after a certain size in the States, they stop making half sizes. So of course I'm a half size and it doesn't fit. Like, I'm either shrinking my foot into size smaller or swimming in a size bigger, but they're like, oh, you and your half size foot doesn't matter because it's too big of a half size foot. It's just like, I'm like, that's unfair. But I couldn't imagine, in a world where there's so much fat phobia and people aren't making clothes. I don't think my experience is, remotely as maybe shameful or painful as someone who.
Yeah, because no one's walking around in the streets looking at you and judging you for your sized feet. But we know that unfortunately, people in larger bodies will have that experience. We'll even have people judge, like out loud, tell them what they have the right to eat or consider or where they can sit or da-da-da. And that's just horrible. And yeah, I mean, I can't imagine because I don't have that experience, but it revolts me.
Yeah. Nobody's going around telling me I need to diet so my foot gets smaller, right? There's a totally different experience in being in that place. And
Mm.
thankfully, there are some stores that do cater to women and I don't know, and men in larger bodies in the States that seem to have really cute styles. And I love to hear that. And I'm excited about that. But I think there is a responsibility to people who are store owners and clothing designers to try to be more inclusive with their sizing.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the only issue they should be facing, honestly, or considering. I mean, when you see certain brands, which I'm not going to name, and the mountain of clothes they're producing, and they're not able to make bigger sizes, but there are absolutely like they pretend like, no, that's not possible, that's not feasible, whatever, but they're very capable of creating mountains of clothes that they're throwing away because they're not selling them, and they're piling them up in poor countries, destroying the environment, and being totally chill with that. So I'm sorry, but I call absolute bullshit on that one. They just don't want to. It's just not good for business. And which is not true, actually, because I was reading on Instagram, one of the fat activists or body positive humans that I follow was sharing about how there's this brand that actually is doing phenomenally well, because they were like, no, this is actual BS. We can totally be profitable and make a killing with cute clothes aimed at people in larger bodies. So we're going to do it. And they're doing so well. So I mean, I was happy to read that, but it should be the norm. It shouldn't be the exception, especially because unfortunately, it's also hard to make those clothes like easily accessible and then affordable, because, we didn't even breach the topic of, well, buying clothes costs money. Like, that's so obvious, right? But you can't always do that. Maybe your relationship to money is tricky. Maybe you just don't have the freaking money to spend on it. So all of these things can really make like the whole experience so much more complex than what you and I had to sort of experience and work through. So I just wanted to say that out loud, because as much as we have lived experience and we're trained to sort of be there for others, it's not a cookie cutter approach. And it's not what probably is anywhere close to everyone's experience. And theirs is so very valid. And I hope that they can find people that can be there for them and meet them where they're at. And I hope as hell that we get to change this system soon enough. Anyways, that's me getting worked up.
Yeah, we are not representative of everyone's experience. So if you guys are watching the show, the way you shop and what ends up working for you might look totally different than what worked for us and what works for us now. So
hopefully, though, some of those directions and ways of thinking were helpful. But I loved everything that you shared. Please continue sharing all your like lived experience stuff. And I like learning new things about you, like big feet.
Okay, first of all, I want to start hearing more personal things about you. Second, this is what YouTube is for, Anne Claire. People go onto YouTube to look at vlogs of just random things happening in someone's day. So that's what YouTube.
Here's me at the dentist.
Yeah.
People got some personal stuff. Yeah.
A day. Oh my gosh. If we filmed a day in a life video of us at the retreat, we would both be like, and now we're brushing our teeth for the 4th time today.
Yeah. But then again, that was just a blissful experience. And you just like brushing your teeth. So
I just love having a fresh, minty breath. But anyway, what was I going to say here? Yeah, I was going to go on again about having big feet, but I will let it rest and just say, everyone, you'll be hearing more of our little personal stories in these videos throughout. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Meg and Anne Claire Show.
Thank you for joining. Thank you, Meg, for joining me. And please don't forget to comment, subscribe to our channel, share your extra next questions with us. We would love to have everyone else's input. And yeah.
Thank you, Anne Claire, and thank you, everyone watching. We will see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.